All right, so welcome to another rapid fire business story of the week. This is part of our rapid fire series, and today we have an incredible guest with us, someone who's achieved extraordinary success and is here to share their unique business journey with you. We're excited to hear their insights, so let's welcome them to the show. All right, so as this is our rapid fire series, we've got 1 minute or less to answer each question. So in a minute or less, give us the elevator pitch to your story and your life. Go.
Hi, this is Irial O'Farrell. I'm delighted to be on the show with you today. From a very young age, my very first job in business, I have just been fascinated by how organizations meet the needs of the individual and the needs of the organization. The two have to meet together. And I have been on an endless journey of fascination and trying to uncover the human in the workplace and how they show up. And I suppose 30 years later, I'm still as fascinated, but I've got a lot more insights into how people show up in the workplace.
So that's fascinating, and I would love to dig a little bit deeper. So tell us a bit more about what you're working on today that you're most passionate about and believe will have the biggest impact.
So my passion is today I'm focusing in on reimagining performance management. I've designed performance management processes over the years. I've trained thousands of managers and employees alike. I've heard all of their concerns, all of their challenges with it, all of their frustrations with it, and I've designed a new approach to it whereby we define what good looks like up front, and then rather than the 1 to 5 ratings, we use performance profiles, which is much more in keeping with the scenarios of what managers actually have to address on a daily basis. So that is my current focus. I'm very excited about it as well.
So this next question is one that every entrepreneur has dealt with. Tell us about a time where you failed. We often say failure is the first step to success. So think about a time where you failed in the past. What happened? What did you learn from it?
I would say I set up my own business in 2006, and by 2012 I was exhausted from having gone through the downturn of 2008, and I ended up going in-house for a period of time. And it really didn't work out very well. And I suppose for me it was the kind of having my foot in a new company, but also knowing I could generate my own income. And I think I've subsequently learned I'm not for going in-house, working in-house in places on a permanent basis. So that was a hard journey to kind of get to that point.
That's fascinating. And we're definitely going to have you back on the show to dive deeper into each of these questions. But for now, one thing that I often say is, and I tell this to my employees and the people who work with me and for me all the time, is that when a tree falls in the forest, if nobody hears it, did that tree actually fall? This brings me to this next question. How do you make sure that all of these amazing projects that you're involved in get noticed? What marketing and advertising methods have worked best for you? You've got a minute. Let's go.
So one of the things I do is I write books, and so I get quite a lot of exposure, particularly on the SMART objective setting and the one about how to empower your team's problem solving, because it's a real problem managers face. And then podcasts and articles are another way I have got my name out there and get recognised. And so I really, really like doing podcasts because you get to deep dive into conversations and ideas. So I like talking, so it's a good fit for me.
That was so awesome. We're definitely going to dive deeper into this on a later show. And as we approach our last question, before we ask people how people can get a hold of you, how people can reach you, learn more about the work that you're doing in your company, and we will include all that information in the show notes. What I wanted to ask you is, what is one piece of advice that you would offer to your younger self, to our audience, and to somebody, especially somebody who's just starting out in the same niche that you're in, but just doesn't know how to start or get going?
I think for me, if I had known much earlier in my career and in my life about personal values, it would have saved me an awful lot of angst and an awful lot of wasted energy. When I became an executive coach and came across that idea of personal values in the first place, it was just eye-opening for me and was a real game changer for me. I could accept things, differences in other people, and I didn't have to get frustrated and annoyed with it. So that would be definitely something I would have loved to have told my younger self. But I did write a book on it, so it definitely is there for other people to learn from and to get that deep dive sooner rather than later.
Amazing stuff. We're going to have to thank our guest today for being a guest on Business Story of the Week. And before we cut out on this episode, I wanted to ask you, how can people get a hold of you? How can people learn more about what you're doing? And how do people engage with you? And we will transcribe this and put it in the show notes for everybody to find.
So my website is evolutionconsulting.ie. My books can be found on Amazon. You can buy them off the website or off Amazon. And there's Smart Objective Setting, The Manager's Dilemma, How to Empower People's Problem Solving, and the Values book. And then LinkedIn, so Irial O'Farrell on LinkedIn.